RDR2's Wanted system is perhaps the most inconsistent and broken system in the entire video game, while other things in the game like NPCs, world, animals, etc. feel more realistic. The Wanted system in front of all of them looks undercooked by comparison. Now, there are some good things about this system, but in this video, I will be only covering the bad things of this system. What if I told you the robbery scene you see in the game's benchmark featuring a wagon with a police appearing is actually not a thing in the game? Well, if you try to replicate the same thing, you will never see the police actually spawning in wagons. They always come either by foot or horse. And that's weird for something which is supposedly in the game's benchmark, but not in the actual game. Anyways, RDR2 lacks having different type of forces against the player, like in GTA, where police with each star appears with more better equipment. Something doesn't happen in RDR2. It would have been nice if the game also had a different varieties of lawmen. Expanding on the lack of variety, the game can keep spawning lawmen for an infinite amount of times. Even in Valentine, if you killed 100 lawmen, more will still come up. Instead, there should have been a small time window where the player can simply try to escape the area when a better army of lawmen appears in the next wave. Then there's a problem with the spawning of the lawmen. It's virtually impossible to get out of a crime area in St. Denis without a lawman randomly spawning in front of your way. For example, in this footage you can see on the map how the lawman keeps spawning around me as if the game is intentionally doing this for me. On top of this, some lawmen will keep spawning and immediately despawning as if the game isn't sure on what to do. If you're out at empty areas or wilderness and murder an NPC, any random passerby NPC will become an eyewitness and rush to report the crime. Though here's a catch, the nearest town or city is kilometers away, but somehow crime is reported in less than a minute. A big red circle forms around you and the lawmen are on the spot in the next minute. For example, in this footage, I killed 2 NPCs in the outskirts of the Bayou area. A passerby NPC becomes a witness and rushes to the road which doesn't even lead to any town or city. Then lawman also comes from the same area, as if the Bayou is housing a secret police station. Anyways, I would have found this still good if the crime was reported in the road leading to Saint Denis and police came from the same city. But it's only the start. There are many more other flaws I find with this system. For example, I committed a crime in the Lemoyne area, more lawmen spawn, and somehow the guards on the train get alerted, despite not knowing anything about the situation. Then the lawmen find where I am hiding and ask me to surrender. You may say I was bad at hiding.
That's it! I'm putting you where you belong!
This problem of lawmen being able to find you is even more apparent in St. Denis. For example, in this clip, I killed a lawman without alerting him, but as soon as he got hit, the other lawmen instantly know where I am without them even being able to see me a moment prior. Now, in this clip on the rooftops of St. Denis, I was harassing the lawmen and changing areas. But somehow the lawmen on the ground for a small area of radius know where I am and even point their guns at me despite not being able to see me. Another thing I found is that if you are on top of the train and throw a weapon, somehow the guards, even at one end of the train, get alerted. And then I become wanted, as if the guards on the train pushed a button to report my presence. And this doesn't even end here. The lawmen know where I am and will also spawn quickly, as they were waiting for this day their whole life. If you try to ambush a lone lawman after they were searching for you, as soon as he gets alerted, somehow an entire wanted zone forms around the player, like there is some automatic system which alerts all the lawmen nearby and they rush to the spot. This is even way more advanced than what we have in real life. Now there is one area in the game that even if you mistakenly set your foot inside, you will be literally watched by some invisible drones and followed by a group of lawmen finding your exact location. I am talking about Blackwater. In this clip, you can see as soon as I set my foot inside this area, some lawmen spawn near me and also find my location. Well, even way worse. In this clip, they spawned right behind me. I mean, this is an area where the player isn't supposed to set their foot on, but it feels unrealistic. Instead, there should have been small patrols on the roads, or maybe some lawmen at roads checking the identity of every passing NPC. The eyewitness system, in which an NPC reports your crimes, feels very quick and modern for a game set in 1899. Like explaining the whole thing can take a whole minute, and there might be multiple matching suspects, but the lawmen immediately know where you were and rush to the spot. Also, if your identity wasn't confirmed by the eyewitness, but they proceeded to report the crime, if you stay in the wanted zone, the lawmen only question what you were doing there, and don't ask the same questions for other nearby NPCs, as if only the main player can be a suspect. And I don't know if this is a bug or not, but if you try to climb on the roof of the train, you get wanted, and I can't figure out why exactly it triggered. Another thing is if you accidentally collide with someone during a horse ride, and one of the guys starts fighting you, a nearby NPC becomes an eyewitness and reports it to the police despite seeing who started the fight first. Now, the final thing which I want to mention, which I find unrealistic, is that if by mistake the player bumps into another NPC and they start beating you or shooting at you, they don't get wanted. But if you shoot back, you get wanted. Now there are more examples, but you get the point. While all the other mechanics in the game don't revolve around the player, the wanted system is an exception. It revolves mostly around the player, and it's the most complained about mechanic for this game. I hope Rockstar makes it feel more part of the world and not the player in GTA 6. Because I think Rockstar still needs to make a perfect formula for their wanted system to be realistic, but still a fun addition to the gameplay. So I will end my today's rant here. I thought it was important to address this, which needs to be fixed by Rockstar for their future titles.